Okay. The special people that just do the things and help you. And for Dr. Nelson, I met Dr. Nelson in 1999, which by the way, just seems like it was right around the corner, but I guess it wasn't. And I was really sick, for those of you who don't know, and I was told by a doctor right here in Western Massachusetts that I wasn't going to live to get my affairs in order. I went and my sister knew Dr. Nelson prior to this, and I went out to Chicago and met with her, and she told me what I needed to do. And to be quite honest, I did not believe it. I guess that's the best word. I just thought this lady has no clue. But she told me what was wrong. Make a long story short, I did what she told me to do. And since 1999, after taking tons of medications, I haven't taken a single medication since. After we got myself well, I started working with Dr. Nelson, and that's how I started Alternative Health. So the thing is that this lady is much more than just a doctor. She has helped thousands and thousands of people regain their health and maintain their health. She has taught staffs how to work with people and get them well. She has, for me, she's been my mentor, my friend. She's helped me with my business. So she's just everything. And I can say from the bottom of my heart, this is one person in this world that I just truly love. She is just a special kind of person, and it's one of those people that everybody wants to have somebody in their life that way. And I am proud to say that I have that person. So I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Linda Nelson. And before I do, I just want to say, Dr. Nelson, I know when you talk, people will listen and you will help them. And if all of you just listen to her words and the way she says it, you will learn something and that will help you forever. When she's done, we will go back to questions and answers, and I'm sure she will answer. Every time she used to come here and do a presentation, I tell her it's an hour, and she'd be here for 2.5 hours answering questions. So she knows when she comes to me, there's a lot of questions, and people ask, and she will answer. So without further ado, Dr. Linda Nelson. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Actually, this is really exciting to do this. I've been self-isolating for quite a number of weeks now, and probably have been feeling a lot of the same things that many of you have felt. I don't think there's one person on the face of the earth right now who has not had their life totally upended by everything that's going on. Not knowing the future, not knowing what's going to go on, not knowing if we're going to have money, or not having a support system with our families and our friends. It alters everything. And the one thing that I feel like there's going to be some good things come out of this. I'm hoping the world becomes a kinder, gentler, more beautiful place where we all treat each other with more kindness, that we realize that we have more in common than we have in differences, and we treat each other that way. But I also know that this has happened in my life several times, where we've had not just a pandemic, but horrible things that have happened in the world. And I've come to find that the only person that is in charge of me, the only person that I am in charge of is me. I can't change what other people are doing in the world, but I can change me. And that really kind of started my journey towards health when I got to the point where there was no one that I felt could help me get well. I had been sick for many, many, many years and really thought I wasn't going to live to raise my children. And a sweet little naturopath from California took me under his wing and and taught me exactly what John's been teaching all of you. And this was clear back in 1979, that you pretty much need to go back to the source and take charge of your health yourself. And I've really come to believe that we need to build wellness rather than treat disease. So when we're talking about what's happening right now, the only person that's in control of our immune system is us. And that's the only thing that we're in charge of right now. We think we're in charge of a lot, but I can tell you I have lost the ability to be in charge of any person in my family. I have 80 people in my family with children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. I'm not in charge of any of them right now. And that's sort of been my role previously, that I thought I had to make everybody happy and make sure everybody's life was okay. And now all of a sudden, the only person that's in charge of me is me. And so when we think about that, we think about, how am I going to stay healthy? This is my family calling. How can I stay healthy, mind, body, and spirit? So when we're talking about health, we're talking about not just physical health. Holistic health, we believe that the body has three parts, as a mind, body, and a spirit. And I think we'll all agree that if there's something wrong with the body, the mind and the spirit suffers. That's what I'm worried about right now for everybody. Because when your mind and your spirit are suffering, your body is also going to suffer. But if there's something wrong with your spirit, your body and your mind also suffer. We are so interconnected that when we talk about healing the body, staying well, staying strong, we need to do all of those. So some of the things that I'd like to talk about today is how to cope with what's going on right now and emerge from this a healthier, better you. And always, mind, body, and spirit, not just body. So when we're talking about, to begin with, I think we'll talk a little bit about stress. Have you got a PowerPoint there, John? Have you got a PowerPoint that you can pick up, or should I just talk without it?
She's running something, so this is muted.
Okay. Oh.
Hello, am I muted?
I can hear you.
Okay, can you mute me? I'm so sorry. Oh, I can mute myself. I apologize.
Okay, I just need to see now how to move the, oh, there we go. Okay, let's talk about what stress is. Right now, I don't know what your stress points are, but you're probably lonesome. You're probably feeling sorry for yourself. Some of us may have a little depression. A lot of us have a lot of anxiety. I think it's probably reflecting in how we feel physically. We don't know if we're going to have enough money to pay for food or for rent. We don't know what's going to happen politically. We don't know what's going to happen to our business. And when we feel that kind of stress, we get adrenaline. Adrenaline is our fight or flight hormone. And when we keep under stress full time, the body gets exhausted. Your entire adrenal system gets exhausted, your thyroid, your adrenal glands. When you're under stress for a very long time, it affects both mentally, spiritually, physically, and emotionally. And so how are we going to change that? One thing we need to do is we need to build our cortisol. Our cortisol is what gets the adrenaline back in control. How does the body produce cortisol? Produces it by exercise. So let's talk a minute about exercise. I can go on YouTube right now and I can click in free to 100,000 exercise programs. There's no excuse not to not be doing anything. You have to be doing exercise, not just for stress, but you need to do it to make your body work. You need to do some things outside. You need to get out and walk if you just want to walk. That's what I'm doing right now. When I get to the point that I feel like my life is kind of crummy because I'm sitting here all by myself, I just decide that I'm going to go out and walk, and that has made a huge difference for me. You need to be doing some kind of exercise in order to stimulate the cortisol and in order to deplete the adrenaline. You cannot stay under stress full time. You also can do meditation. There's probably another 100,000 YouTube on how to meditate. There's yoga programs on YouTube. There's Pilates programs on YouTube. There's absolutely not one excuse in the world that's going to keep you from finding something that will increase the cortisol so that your stress level goes down. Absolutely, totally critical. I'm going to have to ask Patty how I go to the next slide here. Thank you.
I'm doing it for you.
Oh, thank you. Okay, let's look. Count on your fingers. How many of these are triggering you right now? Are you worried about housing, pressure to succeed, social anxiety, parenting? I know I have children and grandchildren that are trying to homeschool. That is their stress right now. They absolutely have no idea how to do math now. Their new math programs. Their kids are not being able to explain what they're supposed to be doing. Parenting right now is very difficult, but parenting right now can change your family's life. And we won't spend too much time on that because I know you all know that, but some of the blessings that have happened in my family over the last 2 months is what's happened as each family unit in my family has found ways to bond and love and care for one another without outside influences. It's been pretty dramatic. Technology, worrying about health issues, worrying about your elderly dependents. I have people in my family who have older parents and grandparents, and they can't see them, and they're in retirement homes, and they can't get in to see them and make sure they're okay. Finances are touchy right now. Finances are critical right now. We are overwhelmed by probably more stress triggers than any other time in my life. And we, in order to be healthy, need to figure out how to make a change in that. We need to take charge. The only ones that can lower our stress level, unfortunately, is us. Okay, Patty. Okay, how does stress affect the body? Think in your health right now, what's going on. Chronic pain. A couple of things happen with that. If you've been exercising and you're not exercising, you're going to start feeling those aches and pains again. Depression is unrelenting. People who have not had depression before don't understand that when someone's depressed, you can't just say to them, stop being depressed. Look at all the blessings you have in your life. Depression is something that's very, very difficult to come out of, particularly when you're not exercising and you're not healthy. If you have anxiety or insomnia, we could talk a long time about sleep. The body can't restore itself if we don't sleep. Well, when we're under stress, we don't sleep. So when we talk about one of the main health issues with anxiety and stress is the inability to sleep. Women need at least 8 or 9 hours of sleep a night. Men need at least 7 or 8 hours of sleep at night. And I found that one of the things that helps me the most, and I've been doing this the last couple of weeks, is two things. These might sound kind of simple, but they've really worked for me. When you get into bed, if you lie on your back and you take a deep breath in, put your tongue up at the top of your roof of your mouth. Is everybody doing that? People just do that when you talk about it. Up to the roof of your mouth, and then you breathe in through your nose, long, long breath, count to 10, and then you release it back out slowly, back out of your mouth. And if you do that 4 times, 6 times, the first time it might make you feel a little spacey because we're not used to being really well oxygenated. But if I find that if I do that 4 or 5 times, I go to sleep almost immediately. The other thing that's really helped me is I kind of envision myself in a big bag of potatoes, you know, wrapped really tightly, like a 10-pound bag of potatoes. And then as you lie there, envision yourself, somebody cutting that bag of potatoes open, and your body just, you will go to sleep really, really rapidly. They sound really silly, but it's critical that you get enough sleep. It's critical that that your body has that 7 or 8 or 9 hours of sleep a night to heal, because that's when your body heals. Lack of focus. Sometimes we just have to physically and emotionally make ourselves focus on something. I know that there are times in the last couple of months I've just kind of wandered around my house thinking, what is there to do? What do I want to do? I really kind of had to write myself a little list of all the things I want to accomplish. And then I just kind of tick them off. And then I also have found that if sometimes I don't want to, it's okay. It's okay for me to watch Netflix for 7 series of something. That's okay at this time. Irritability. The other thing that's going to happen for all of you who are on the program, this is what we don't want to happen. We don't want there to be a weight gain. Not just what you're eating affects weight gain, but stress totally affects weight gain. So the more stressed you are, the more difficult it's going to be for your body to lose weight. And the other thing that happens is eczema, psoriasis, cold sores, acne, all come with stress. And when we're talking about how stress affects the body, it affects everything. It affects your brain. It affects your cardiovascular system. When you are under stress and your adrenaline's really high, you know that your pulse speeds up, your heart rate speeds up. You will end up having some cardiovascular issues. Your joints and your muscles ache. Your immune system, which is really, really critical right now, crashes. Your skin breaks out. You start having intestinal problems. Every system of the body affects negatively to stress. So we need to figure out how in our personal lives, what I do might not work for you, but you need to figure out what it is, what does calm you down. That is not alcohol, and it's not anything that's abusive to your body. And it's definitely not walking, every time you walk through the kitchen, find yourself something to eat. So we need to figure that out. Okay, Patty? Patty still there? Okay, it's just going to tell you exactly everything that we just talked about. Meditation, exercise, the right foods, reading, music. We probably can't stress enough how music changes. I've loved, for all of you who don't spend any time on your internet, I've loved all of the music that's coming out from all of this. Everybody is from non-famous to children to famous people are producing music to help us with our stress level. And the other thing that I think I really am loving, I'm looking at all the side benefits of this pandemic. If you've had a chance to look at before and after pictures of the major cities right now and the major countries right now, what's happened to our environment, what's happened to the pollution in the air. Whole bodies of water have turned from mucky brown to sparkly blue. Our body is detoxifying, and that's been pretty exciting to me. Okay. Okay, I know that I think you're probably all on a program, but let's talk about the gut and the brain connection. They tell us, and clear back when I very first started this company in 1980, my goal was to educate to the point where people understood that 95% of all disease started in the colon, or now all the information is coming out, they're calling it the gut. 95% of everything that's wrong with us starts with a toxic body. Particularly the brain. We're talking a lot about stress right now, but when you are toxic and your body isn't functioning properly, it affects your brain dramatically. One of the things that we're trying to do when you're on a program is we want to cut out processed foods. We want you to be eating fresh foods. Of course, we talked about stress. Anything that is not life-sustaining in medication, in conventional medical medications, particularly antibiotics and steroids. Our goal would be to get you healthy enough to get you back out of those so that they're not affecting your body every single day. Our goal is to build your immune system so that when something like this comes up, your body can fight it. If you have a poor immune system, you just leave your body open for anything that comes around. And I think you'll see as you read the reports that most of the deaths are coming from people who have pre-existing medical conditions. We want to build our immunity so that we're working on wellness. We're not taking a disease and trying to prevent it. I sometimes get kind of discouraged when I have been working with people for a really long time, because particularly family, because family doesn't really want to listen to what we're talking about. I know my father, he had diabetes, and he found out that he could eat whatever he wanted as long as he just kept upping his dose of insulin. And I just after him, he finally said to me, "Linda, you are ruining our relationship. I don't want to hear about detoxification and what's happening. I don't want you to talk to me about it." And so I just totally backed off. And by the time he was in the hospital and had his leg amputated because of diabetes and had a stroke, and he said, "Okay, Linda, now what can I do?" He said, "You know what? Prevention is the answer. You can't not care about your health for your whole life, and then when something terrible happens, try to work your way back out of it." Is what we want to do is teach you how to keep your immune system strong and work with prevention. Let's work with wellness. Let's not try to cure and work our way back from disease, though we can in a lot of times. But when it gets to the point where the body can no longer heal itself, you have to go back and look at what you could have done to do prevention. We want, when you're healthy, it affects your moods, it improves your memory, and it stops the food cravings. We have a pretty big nutraceutical line, and every one of these nutrients that John has been having you take, that you put in a program, do specific things. Maybe I could take just a minute here and talk about the difference in manufacturing of nutrients. When we first started the company, in 1980, I tell you, Americans did not care about detoxification. Fast foods were new, microwaves were new, everybody was pretty healthy, everything was white bread, everything was white sugar. Nobody wanted to even hear about detoxification. But we had a couple of really amazing contacts in Asia, in Japan and Hong Kong and Singapore, who were so enthralled by what we were doing, because we were teaching Chinese medicine, only it was in capsule form and in program form, that we went into Asia first. Probably about the first 12 years of our business, we spent most of our time in Asia. And in order to go into Japan, you have to have 0 contamination in your nutrients. They tested every single shipment that came in, and if there was ever any indication of any kind of contamination, they rejected it, and then you could not ever ship into Japan again. In the United States, you can have 50% contamination. That includes fillers. It can include sawdust or fillers, or it even includes rat hair. It can include, in fact, the really interesting thing is legally, you can have in each batch, you can have 5 rat hairs. No rat hairs is what is good for me, but it's really, really critical that you are taking what has been formulated to actually make a change in your body. The formulas are formulated from the same formulators that we started using clear back in 1980. All of our nutrients are formulated to go together. So whatever John puts you on, know that they're formulated to go together. So each one affects a different part of the body or responds differently to different parts of the body. And everything is exactly what it says on the label, which is not necessarily the case in the United States. So I feel very, very secure about what we're taking. In fact, I love it when someone will call me and say, do you have this? And because I know that your quality control is absolutely the best almost in the world. And if you've approved it, then that's what we want to take. And I feel very secure in that. When we talk about the programs, and I think essentially you've probably all been through detoxification. I don't see all your pictures up here anymore, so I can't have you raise your hand, but I'm sure that most of you have been through a detoxification. The intestinal tract really is the basis of returning health or keeping healthy. And I know that you've had extensive conversations about it, but most Americans, without actually have taken care of their bodies, carry up to 20 pounds of putrefied waste around in their colons all the time. And the colon is an open system, and it forms gases, and it forms toxins, and it forms poisons, and it recirculates through all of your organs. And besides working, we're going to start at the source, and we're going to clean every single organ. That's what my goal was when I started, and that's what John's goal is with you right now. You need to start at the source and get yourself well. Once you've been through this detoxification, we actually have started a pretty amazing eating guide. It depends on what program.
Dr. Nelson?
Absolutely perfect foods for you to eat for 17 days. If you're on a Candida program, you can't do this. If you are on a specific program, this will come after the program that you've been on. But it includes 17 foods that balance each other out, and you can almost eat as much as you want of it if you don't gorge, if you don't overdose. And that's all you're going to eat for 17 days. So for you who have been on a couple of programs and you think, I'd like to try something a little bit different and still super, super healthy, ask John about the Vitavore eating guide, because it will absolutely change your body, even if you've been on a program for a long time. I know that it's been really great for weight loss. Know that we're taking out anything that's sugar, white flour, anything you already know you should not be eating. But ask John for a list of those if he feels like you're ready to move to that next step. Okay, Patty. Okay, let's talk about eating. I'm going to be really honest with you and tell you that I'm just like everybody else. And the first week that I was sort of self-isolated, I just would walk through the kitchen and think, I wonder what there is in here to eat. I would just eat something every time I went from one room to another. That's never, for 40 years, has never been my habit, but that was how I was dealing with stress. And my kids would all bring me food that I don't usually eat, and I was just eating. So one of the things that happens when you're under stress is you eat differently than you know that you should be eating. When you go through a detoxification, I hope you've all noticed that when you come off of that detoxification, the foods that taste good to you are very different than the foods you were eating before you started a program. Eating foods that heal the body instead of are destructive to the body becomes the way that your body wants to eat. Your body craves the food that make it healthy. I've had, when I work with kids, I do something where I have them list healthy foods, neutral foods, and destructive foods, and it's very interesting to see what they come up with, because the foods that they think are nutritious are the ones that they're stopping at 7-Eleven or the corner grocery store or corner gas station and eating. If you can figure out which foods make you healthy, and we all know what they are, they're fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, whole grains, and then we know there are neutral foods, which are things like, I don't know, rice cakes or white rice, or things that don't make you healthy and don't make you less healthy. And then there are destructive foods, and they're foods that are fast foods, foods that have preservatives, have white sugar in them, have white flour in them. Very easy to make a list, and to the point where, you know what, you can almost go anywhere and get something to eat and pick out foods that make you healthy. That's one of the skills that John and Patty and Jenna will teach you, is how to pick foods that actually make you healthy. The other thing that happens is that we're afraid we're going to gain weight, so we stop eating altogether. We eat less and less and less. That's almost worse than eating the wrong foods. Your body lives on and gets its energy from calories from good food. If you don't eat enough calories for your body, and I think John's got a body composition machine, you probably all been on it. You can get on there and it'll tell you how many calories your body needs on a daily basis in order to maintain weight, and how many calories you could eat less to lose weight. We know it's not 500 calories a day and it's not 600 calories a day, but when we get concerned about losing weight, we become more unhealthy than if you were gaining weight. I'm trying to see what's underneath here. Uh, okay, there are we're working with weight loss, there are a couple of nutrients that I think you're probably been working with. One is Slenderade, which is a blood sugar regulator. It actually was initially developed for diabetics, where we regulate blood sugar so that uh, your body maintains a healthy body sugar. We also have a couple of sticks that I really love. We have an antioxidant stick that has all the antioxidants in it that are absolutely, totally the highest you can get. Astaxanthin, which is the highest antioxidant available in the United States, comes from algae. Mostly we get ours from Japan. And one of the things that I love the most, because I put it in everything, is our nutritional powder. Comes in a lot of different flavors, but if you mix it in, you could mix it in water, you can mix it. I love my favorite is to mix it in plain yogurt with chocolate nutritional powder with berries in it. It tastes exactly like ice cream. It is absolutely the best. But it has 100% calorie, 100% nutrition, 100% amino acids. It's got 20 grams of protein. It's got it's an absolute perfect balance. You can use it to bake with. You can make baking goods with it. You can use it in a smoothie. It's going to give you 100% nutrition. You will not be healthy if you don't get 100% nutrition. So there are a lot of ways that we do that within the company. And I'm probably talking to all of you who have been on programs with John and Patty forever, and you already know all these things I'm talking about. This will be just a little kick boost. Okay, Patty. Oh, we already talked about lack of sleep. Actually, I wish this was up so I could see how many of you say you don't sleep. Absolutely, totally critical. One of the things I really would like you to try first the breathing thing tonight and see if that works. And then the two other things that we can use. We have a formula that is a sleep formula, non-habit forming. It is not Tylenol. It doesn't. Has no chemical base to it. 2 before you go to bed will put you to sleep really rapidly. Do that with your breathing. And the other thing that really helps sleep is calcium. For all of you who have leg cramps or jumpy legs at night or Charlie horses at night, when we take calcium, generally, if it's not a liquid calcium, if it's like a pressed tab calcium, it has to go through the digestive system into the stomach, and the stomach has to turn it to a liquid state before it can go into the blood supply, and that's what feeds the muscles. So our calcium is liquid. It does not go through the digestive system. It goes directly into the blood supply. So if I'm having a hard time sleeping at night, I take the sleep, I take 2 calcium, a little bit of water, not a whole lot of water because I don't want to have to get up in the middle of the night, and I breathe, and I will sleep absolutely soundly for 8 hours. The reason we get Charlie horses and leg cramps is because we need calcium in our bones, in our tissues, in our muscles. And if we don't have enough calcium that reaches through our blood supply, the body starts pulling that calcium back out into the blood supply. One of the reasons that you're having leg issues at night is because your body is pulling calcium out of the bones and muscles. So if I get a leg cramp in the middle of the night, I just get up immediately and take 2 more calcium, and within 20 minutes that problem is totally solved. So if that's an issue with you, try that. Try calcium in the sleep and the breathing I told you about. Okay, how does stress affect the skin? We all know that. We all know that when we're under stress, when we eat differently, when we don't exercise, we start producing, for one thing, more oil to your skin, but also eczema breakouts, psoriasis breakouts, cold sores. We may get cold sores again. We may get some kind of herpes, which is a cold sore, and acne. So when we're under stress, know that it's very, very common to have skin issues. We have a really great organic skincare program that makes a whole lot of difference, that balances the pH. One of the things that we try to
Thinking she's losing her internet connection. Dr. Nelson, can you hear us? All right.
Something happened or must have happened to her internet. So, okay, she'll probably be back here shortly. So let me ask a couple things that she mentioned was, she mentioned about trying to deal with your family, and that's a very difficult thing to do. That's my job. So don't try to convince your family to do anything. If you want them to do something, tell them to come and see me. I can talk to them. Prevention. I really would like to touch on the idea of prevention. As I said in the beginning, if we don't take the necessary steps to take care of ourselves, anytime that something comes along, we will have an issue. And this is not going to be the only virus or anything like that that's going to happen to us. Okay, it is going to be a constant barrage on our immune system. And for those of us who are a little bit older, we have to be much more careful as to making sure our immune system is healthy. But on a positive note, is Patricia Lindo on? She is?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, okay. I'm going to ask you, Patricia, in a short version, for those people that weren't on last week, would you tell the quick story about your brother, what happened?
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right. So about 2 weeks ago, my brother wasn't feeling well, and seemed like he was symptomatic with the COVID-19, muscle aches, headache, and all that stuff. And maybe about a week ago, prior to that, I had ordered some products from Patty and John, and that was for myself, just to start making sure I'm protected myself during the COVID-19 pandemic that we're all experiencing. So I had the Vital, the Daily, the Detox Herb that was sent to me, and I was told, make sure you take this, you gotta be on it. And I said, okay, cool. Plus the vitamin D also. So those 4 items was shipped to me. And when I received them, I wanna say it was about 2 or 3 days later when my brother reached out to me to say he wasn't feeling well and think that he could be coming down with the coronavirus. So I immediately said, you need to start taking these. I had just received them, you need to start taking this all at the same time. I think the instructions were for all of them except the daily. You take 2 in the morning and 2 in the afternoon. It was already written on the packet, so I gave it to him and I said, start taking this right away, 2 in the morning and 2 in the afternoon, and then the daily, you take it once a day. He immediately got on it right away, started taking it, and with some other stuff, and he started using it. And he went in after it was taking them for about maybe 3 or 4 days, he was able to get his appointment to get tested for COVID, and he got the test back and he was tested positive. Last Saturday, when I spoke with him, I want to say maybe going into a week, a couple of days after the week, checked in with him was I checked in with him every day to see how he was doing. Every day he was getting better. And then finally he said, I really feel good. And this is after he was tested. I feel much better. The doctor said I'm doing good. And he said, thank you for giving me all of those things because it really worked. And I told him not to stop taking it, keep taking it, because he's much older. He's like in his early 70s. He was still working. So I told him you need to stay on this, especially the Vital. If you don't take anything else, make sure you take the Vital, because the Vital is always something that I always take, especially when I'm coming down with something. I jump right on the Vital and it just knocks it out. And I spoke with him a couple of days ago. He's spoken with his doctor. He's fine. He's back to normal. The doctor said, you can go back to work. And he said, I'm not going back to work. I'm done. I don't want to experience this anymore. But he's out and about now and feels 100% better. So I believe these products really, really work. So I encourage you all to, if you're not taking any of them, you should start taking them and keep taking them.
Thank you, Tricia.
Okay.
And the reason I asked her to say that is because on the positive side, if you watch the news, everything is negative, 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 okay? And you know, it's like anything else. If you hear the same thing over and over and over, pretty soon it's embedded in your brain. It's in your subconscious. And the problem is that we believe it, that there's no hope. But there's all kinds of hope. That's just one little story. My advice is, even when you feel good, and Patricia, don't wait until you feel bad to start taking it, okay? Take it all the time so you don't go through it. That's the whole thing, all right? Now, nobody can sit here and say if you take those 4 things or any 4 things that you'll never, ever get sick. That's impossible, okay? But the whole idea, as Dr. Nelson mentioned, is prevention. We have to constantly work at prevention for what's going to happen. And the people that don't are the people that are going to be sick and people are going to have problems. I wanted her to talk more about detoxing and the importance of it, but she didn't really get to that. But I know so many of you, so many of the people that I've dealt with and have on our in our programs get so tired of hearing me say detox, detox, okay? But you know what? If you don't clean the system regularly, you will have a problem. It's just understood. Now, I'm on my 3rd day of liquid, so is Patty, and there's a number of others in here that are my what I'm calling my detox brigade right now. But you know, we need to do it. We need to take care of ourselves. So if you haven't been doing it, if you're putting it off, don't. Because sooner or later, like Patricia's brother is sick, and then all of a sudden you're trying to bring him out of that. We don't want you to ever get into that, okay? And detoxing is so important. So please think about just taking care of yourself. And as I look at the pictures, I know I'm looking at some people that I've said, you need to detox. Every time they come in, you need to detox. And they kind of look at me like, yeah, whatever. And that's it. But it's so important to do it, okay?
Now's the perfect time. Now's the perfect time. You're home. You don't have a lot of strenuous things. Now's perfect.
Okay. Dr. Nelson, can you explain the importance of detoxing on a regular basis?
Okay, well, we've always thought that everyone should detoxify with a change of each season. So once in the spring, once in the summer, once in the fall, once in the winter. But in circumstances where you're living a toxic lifestyle, or maybe you feel like you need a little extra energy, or you can certainly detoxify more than 4 times a year. Sometimes I'll detoxify 1 month, and then I'll wait maybe 6 weeks and do another one because I still didn't feel very good. To be honest with you, we don't want you detoxing full time, even though a lot of people say they feel the best in their whole life when they're detoxing. We don't want you to detox full time, but you definitely could go 3 days a month. You could do every other month, but definitely 4 times a year.
All right. Okay, thank you. Okay, so let's, was there anything else on the slides?
No.
Okay, Dr. Nelson, do you have anything else you'd like to toss out as long as, on the topic we've been talking about?
No, I just think it's the absolute perfect time to kind of take a little bit of stock of your own lives and know that you are totally in charge of your own health. What you do and what you say and who you let into your life, what your interests are, everything you are in charge of. And now is such a great time because obviously we all have time. Such a great time to take stock of your health. Go in. Your offices are still open, John, right?
Oh, yes.
Go in and have John do a body composition and a foot bath and all the things that you know are going to keep you healthy. We want everybody that we love to stay safe and stay well, but we can't do it for you. You're in charge of you. So you know, our goal really is to give you all the support and all the love that we can, and then have you see the importance of taking the right steps.
Now, there's a lady on here I'm going to introduce because we talk about getting into the office. She lives in Washington, D.C. And so she flies up here a couple times, 3 times a year and spends a weekend up here getting body wraps, facials, ion cleanses, Zyto tests, etc. Lori, would you like to say a word?
Oops. In case I'm echoing, yeah, I started with the program, I guess, in 2014 and didn't realize maybe I should go up and spend a week. And I guess it was 2 or 3 years ago. So I'm going to keep doing that. So, I love John, I love Patty, and I order my products and I can't live without them. So
We love you too. In fact, I love all of you. And here's the thing, all of you I look at, and you know, I look at you as my friends. I look at you as people I adore. Believe it or not, I adore you. I know sometimes I come down kind of hard, and you know, but it's only because I look at you as wanting you to be healthy. And Dr. Nelson will tell you, I learned from her. She told me like it was, either do it or you don't. And if you're not going to do it, don't waste your time. Be firm. She taught me to be firm with people and tell them the truth. There's no sense in tap dancing. If people want my advice, they'll get it. If they don't, then I guess they don't come in. And that's just the way I've done it. Being taught by Dr. Nelson, that's the way I try to teach Patty and Jenna to do it. Because we have to be upfront. When you're not doing well, we got to tell you. A show of hands, how many of you have detoxed within the last 3 months? Okay, the ones that haven't raised their hands, you might want to think about detoxing. Okay, really think about it. Get yourself going. Take care of yourself. And here's what I say: if you don't take care of yourself, what is the reason? My opinion is because you don't love yourself enough to take care of yourself. Okay, that's what you got to do. You just got to love yourself enough to take care of yourself, and that's why we do it. And that's why during this virus thing, I'm detoxing once a month. Every month, I'm going to do a 3-day detox. Okay, take 1 week out, detox. The rest of the time, do what I need to do to take care of myself. But that 1 week until this thing is gone, because as Dr. Nelson said earlier, there's only one person that can take care of me. Just one person. That's me. I don't want to rely on doctors. I don't want to rely on anybody else. I want to take care of myself. Okay, so what I'm going to do is open it up. Okay, yeah, we're going to open up and let people ask some questions. So Kim has a question to Dr. Nelson or whomever. Go ahead, Kim. Kim? Okay, can't hear her. Okay, who else has a question? We'll come back to Kim if we can. Carol? She's muted.
I thought you really needed to have the magnesium with the calcium in a right ratio or whatever in order to the body to absorb it. So can you address that, please?
What are you doing, Sticky Pants?
Who was that? Okay, Dr. Nelson, are you on?
I am.
Okay.
Yes.
Good question.
Okay. Yeah, it says keep coming up saying my internet connection's not very good. So I'll keep talking as long as I can. Your question was, how does your body absorb the calcium?
Another
Well,
question?
I thought
Was that-
that you needed to have the magnesium with the calcium, and your calcium is just pure calcium. So can you address
Right.
that can be effective, and should we be having magnesium also in another form or whatever?
Yes, you are getting magnesium both in the nutritional powder and in the daily vitamin mineral supplements. So all of our formulas are balanced so they go together, which means that that if there are some nutrients that if you take too much of it, it counteracts something else and makes it not work. So they're all absolutely perfectly balanced. So when you're on a program, you're on a nutritional supplement besides the calcium, right? Is that right, John? So you're getting the magnesium in your program as well as the calcium, but it also when it's a calcium with ours, it's got a little bit of vitamin D in it. It goes into the bloodstream immediately, so you know immediately that it's feeding the blood supply. But you do have magnesium if you're taking the nutrients.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, who else has a question? Raise your hand. No questions? Okay, Patricia. Go ahead.
Unmute. Back to the calcium again. I had seen my gynecologist last year, latter part of last year, and we talked about calcium. Because I, asked you, what do you take in all that? And I say calcium. And he asked, was the calcium in a pill form or was it more food related? And I said it was pill form, supplement. And he said to me that the calcium that you're taking supplemental form doesn't really get into the body as a nutrient the way it's supposed to, and you're better off eating the food that gives you that calcium. So I was just trying to find out if that's the case, if you and I don't like to take supplements. I don't always take my supplement on a regular basis. I know, John, I'm supposed to. Patty, yes. If you wanted to find a substitute for food, what would that be that has the calcium in it besides taking it as a supplement, if that's true what he said?
Well, actually, they would like you to think that it's milk, which absolutely is non-absorbable calcium. The reason I love our calcium is because it's liquid, and if you don't want to take a capsule, you could just put it in your mouth and chew it. It's in a soft gel, and then as soon as the liquid comes out, it tastes dairy. Just discard the gel cap if you didn't want to take it in a gel cap. There is calcium in leafy green vegetables. I personally don't think you can get enough calcium in your diet. So I always, that's one of, there are really like 6 nutrients that I feel like you absolutely have to supplement because you can't eat. And one is calcium, one is vitamin D, one is B12, one is 100% vitamin and mineral, one is antioxidant. What did I miss, John? I'm thinking ahead here. Anyway, there's 6 that I think that you will always, no matter if you're on a program, not on a program, if you feel absolutely fabulously healthy, I think you should always be taking on a daily basis, because I don't think you can eat it. We live in America where all the food sources are depleted. You cannot get 100% nutrition food.
Am I muted? Anybody else have a question for Dr. Nelson? Go ahead. Laura, go ahead.
So does the vitamin D have all those that you mentioned?
The vitamin D
Like, not the
is
vitamin D,
just
the daily, I mean, I'm sorry.
the daily does. However, I think you need to, above the data, I think you need to substitute or to add vitamin D. Vitamin D is actually one of the most powerful antioxidants to keep you healthy. And that hasn't always been the case. We used to think vitamin D was, if you took too much, it was hazardous. And now in conventional medicine, in some instances, they're going up to like 50,000 international units a day, which we don't do. But vitamin D has become conventional medical drug of choice. We hope that they won't make it be under prescription only, because that's kind of what happens. But we think you need to add, in addition to the daily, calcium and vitamin D and B12. Those three things.
Thank you.
Deb, you had a question.
Thank you, Dr. Nelson, so much. I absolutely love the mocha Malise mix. I was an avid coffee drinker, and I substituted a scoop of that with warm water. I first mixed it with a little almond milk so it doesn't break, because I noticed in the hot water it would kind of get blend it first with a cool liquid. And I'm just curious, like some days all I want to do is just have another one and another one. Is it possible to have too much of the Malise meal replacement in one day?
Well, it does have calories in it, so yeah, you could probably do too much. So 2 of those a day is 100% nutrition. So, but you know, you'd switch it up. Put some in unsweetened yogurt. It's yummy. You can sprinkle it in whatever. So switch it up, but know that two meals a day is 100% nutrition. And if you're going to be eating any other calories, you're not going to want to. Every time you drink that, it's like 125 calories.
Dr. Nelson, if you could address, sometimes people say, you know what, I just don't want to detox again. And I know that you've done with people detox using instant meals and the supers, that type of thing. Could you touch on that just a little bit for people that say the lemon juice is too intrusive, et cetera?
Okay, you're going to get the very, very best detoxification with lemon juice, distilled water, pure maple syrup. It is an absolute perfect blend that gives you all the calories, all the nutrients. The maple syrup balances your blood sugar. It gives you the minerals that you need. It gives you calories that you need. It's the perfect detoxification blend. And I almost like to say, if you absolutely are not going to do it, I could give you some other choices. But if we're trying to get you well, that's what I really would want someone to do. In subsequent detoxes, if you want to do it and you can't do lemon again, you can do it in unsweetened grapefruit juice. You could do it in apple juice if you cut it in half by water. You have half water, half apple juice. We do have an antioxidant stick. The problem when we're getting into all of these other juices is you're missing out on maple syrup, which is the to me, the calories and the minerals that your body needs. If you really are not going to detoxify unless you can use another juice, then I would say work it out, John, and figure out how to do it. Even if I take detoxification herbs every single day, and I have since 1980, mainly because that's how I stay well. So even if I'm eating, I take detoxification herbs. But every morning, this is what I mix. I mix antioxidant stick, a cardio stick, which is nitric oxide, which
Lost her.
Well, I think she also mixes the super greens and the radiant. She
Yes.
throws them all together.
Super greens. What's that?
We'll get her to confirm this.
And radiance. Dr. Nelson, you back?
yes, I'm
Okay.
here.
We lost you there for a little while.
I know that my computer's not doing well.
So it's the three, the greens, the super, the heart healthy, and the radiance, correct?
I do the radiance, the cardio,
Mm-hmm.
and the antioxidant. Lots of people do the greens. Lots of people love the greens. I don't love the greens. So I do what that's giving me what I need, but I want to like it. So a lot of people love those greens. For some reason, I just don't really love them. So it's the antioxidants and the cardio and the radiance.
So
I call it sludge.
Do you do it once a day, twice a day, what?
I just do it once a day on the way to the gym.
Okay. Now, I want you to all understand, this lady recently went to New Zealand and bungee jumped off of what was it, Auckland Bridge?
Yeah, it was awesome.
Awesome.
For my 78th birthday. It was fabulous.
If you say so.
You do it with me. If you win, you do it with
Well,
me.
if I was with you and you were going to do it, I think I'd have to say, okay, I'll do it. But so,
You would.
okay, Judy had a question. Judy, can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, I had a question about vitamin K. I understand that's good for transporting either calcium or vitamin D. Is vitamin K in any of the supplements? And the other question I have is on nuts and seeds as a source of protein and fats, and can you eat too much if you have high LDL?
Everything should be in moderation. You can eat too much of anything. You can take too much nutrient. You can drink too much water. You can exercise too much. So yeah, you're going to want to. Nuts and seeds are great, what we call vegetable protein, and is a good substitute if people don't eat a lot of meat, along with beans and legumes. So yeah, you can eat too much of anything. So you're going to want to do everything in moderation. Vitamin K, we have two absolutely totally balanced of every vitamin, every mineral, every amino acid. One is the daily, so it's got every single nutrient in there that your body needs, including vitamin K, in two daily a day, or two of the powder drinks a day, give you 100% of everything. And the thing I love the most about them is they're balanced. They're not going to, for example, if you take too much magnesium, it throws your B12 totally out of whack. So you need to have someone, which is not me, smart enough that they can balance every single nutrient so they do not counteract each other. That's one reason I love I love what we've produced because you have everything in absolute perfect balance and you're getting everything.
And that's one reason we do the Zyto test when we do, because that will tell us some things that you need and try to help balance the body, because our body changes regularly based upon stress, based upon different things that happen in our body. So, Kim, did you have a question again? Can we hear you? Can you? Oh, no microphone. Okay. Who else has a question? Okay, Georgiana. Wait a minute, Georgiana. Wait. You got to unmute.
There you go.
Go ahead.
I was told by a cardiologist that too much vitamin D is dangerous to the heart.
Vitamin D?
Yeah.
Did you, okay, well, I'll go back to where I will say we're not going to overdose on anything. I think the vitamin D that John has you on, John, tell me how much you're putting them on.
Normally I have them do 3 and 3. 3 in the morning, 3 in the afternoon. That's 6.
So 6,000 international units.
Right.
I think that's kind of old school. I mean, I am very, very careful not to ever contradict anything that comes out of conventional medicine. Though I have a lot of opinions that are a little bit different than that. But vitamin D, in fact, it'd be really interesting for you to go click in vitamin D and degenerative disease and see all the new studies that are coming out about vitamin D. And like I said before, one study talks about Parkinson's disease. In conventional medicine, they are giving them 50,000 international units a day. And for a couple of weeks, and then they go back to 40,000, and they're going back to 30,000. And the research on that shows that is almost reversing most Parkinson's symptoms. And so they're treating, conventional medicine is treating degenerative disease with vitamin D. That has not always been the case. It has not been, I mean, 15, 20 years ago, vitamin D was considered toxic. It is now considered the miracle cure for most degenerative disease. So I don't know how long ago he told you that, but it's changing pretty rapidly. Did you lose me again?
No.
Hmm?
Georgiana, you have, that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, now you've heard from me, you've heard from Dr. Nelson and Patty. Jenna, what would you like to say to everybody?
What would I like to say to everyone? I just want everyone to breathe. I think we just have to breathe. And that technique is great that Dr. Nelson gave us before bed. I've been doing a lot of studying on breathing on my own time. And the 4-7-8 breathing technique is something that we can always come back to at any time in the day when we start our day. So inhaling for the 4 seconds, holding it for 7, and then releasing with 8. And then we can kind of check in with our body through that. Are we getting lightheaded? Are we feeling something, in our body? We just want to check in. We want to breathe. And I'm so proud of everyone who is doing good things for themselves. And it's so good to see you all. So
Hey.
that's it.
Nick, what do you have? Do you have a question?
It's just good, great to see everyone. glad everyone's doing well and can join in today.
Good to see Stephanie too.
Who else has a question? Anybody else? Go ahead, Rosita. Okay.
Regards to, I know we're all working on.
Start over, Rosita. We didn't hear the beginning.
Oh. I know we're all working on trying to live a better, healthy life. And good news on my side is that my daughter, I've been trying to get her to do this program for 10 years. She's only 19, but she has a really weak immune system. She has a kidney disease. But aside from that, and so I've been doing the detox with her, and she's hoping to do 5 days. I don't know if I'll be able to do 5 days, but I'm gonna stick it out with her. But my question is, with this whole COVID-19 thing, I wouldn't want to assume that because I'm doing all this, that I'm immune from possibly catching it. And so I just wanted to hear from you, Dr. Nelson, with regards to, the face mask, proximity, the CDC guidelines. How do you view those guidelines for us who are trying to take care of ourselves? Because I take care of my mother, who's 84. She's got a weak immune system. She doesn't eat well. She doesn't want to do, she wants to die, basically. So yesterday, make a decision with the family and say, I'd rather die alone than lonely. And because for the past month, I've kept her isolated with nobody visiting and whatnot. But yesterday I had to make the decision and say, listen, I don't care, just come and visit her. If she gets it and that's the way she goes, then that's the way she goes. But I just wanted to hear what your take is on all that.
I actually feel like we're all taking control of.
I lost you. Okay, I don't think we can hear. Okay.
You can't hear me? Okay.
No,
my concern is can you hear? Okay. My concern is the people who are not taking it very seriously. In Utah, most of the places you go, you are not allowed in a store unless you are wearing a face mask. And it always irritates me if I'm in there and someone thinks they don't have to, because I think this is a community effort, and I'm hoping that everybody takes it seriously. And I also believe in social distancing. And I think as long as we're concerned with the ability to catch it from someone else, in Utah, we've had 30 people die. And they have all been health compromised before that. So it's not like New York City, and it's not like maybe even Massachusetts, but I'm still concerned with people who are not taking care of their health. So I say wear masks, do social distancing. But I also will tell you that if I had a mother who was alone in a home all day, every day, I would I would social distance, but I'd be there to make sure she knows I love her.
Thank you. And you had a question.
That would be Mr. Day.
Oh, Mr. Day, okay.
Mr. Day.
Robert, go
So,
ahead.
so I detoxed a month ago now, and in the last couple weeks, the backs of my hands have been extremely dry, and I'm wondering if it's because I've been washing my hands more, or what I can do other than repair. I've been using repair to make that situation better.
Actually, I think all of our hands look that way. Between sanitizing and washing your hands full time, I think most people have bad hands right now. So hopefully we won't be using alcohol sanitizer for the rest of our life 15 times a day. I think that's going to be our solution.
Okay, thank you very much, and I appreciate your time tonight.
Judy, did you have another question?
It's good to see all of you.
One more.
Yes, I just have a quick question. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, the best form of a sweetener that would be less apt to raise your cortisol levels, is there anything that you recommend? Maple syrup, extract, almond extract?
Dr. Nelson, did you hear that?
I didn't hear a question.
Sweetener, what do you recommend for a sweetener?
Oh, all right. We have sugarless sugar called Sweet that we use. That is a combination of root sweeteners. So it's using Lohan, a little bit of stevia. Was developed initially for diabetics. But now that we all want to cut back on our sugar, it's way sweeter than sugar. So if you're going to bake with it, you wouldn't use nearly as much as you would, like a cup of sugar, you wouldn't use a cup of sugar. You might use a half a cup of sweet. But it's granulated. John has that, and it's just a sugar substitute, but done from roots. Or stevia. You could use stevia also.
Anybody else? Okay. We know that I want to go back to Rosita. Is Rosita still on? Or did she leave? There she is. Her daughter is doing that program, and it was so funny when she brought her in a few months ago to do the consultation. Her daughter said, yeah, my mom tried to get me to do this 10 years ago when I was 8. I remember being here. And but she's doing the program, and she is just, I have not seen a change in somebody that quick in a long, long time. So is Sophia on, Rosita?
No, she went to see Julie.
Okay. All right. So, but she is just doing fabulous. And she is on her, I think, 4th day of liquid today. Beautiful.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So here's what I want. You all know that we have our Instant Meals on special. That goes through the end of the month. And what I did was I held off until we were all done with the presentation. So between now and Tuesday, anybody who comes in or orders anything that's on here, that was on this at the end of the session, you're going to get an additional 10% off of anything that you buy or order. Okay, all you have to do is say Dr. Linda Nelson. That's it. You get your discount. Okay? All right. Okay. And I want everybody to really, really remember the question I think that Rosita mentioned was that about you have to be careful. You have to take care of yourself. But we can't live in fear. We can't be totally fearful of everything, because that creates stress, and we know what stress does to us. So please, Do the things you can do and do them well, okay? Love your family, love the people that are close to you and take care of them and watch after them, okay? Patricia did a wonderful thing for her brother. We have to do more of that. We have to laugh, we have to smile, we have to remember that everything can't be sad and down. So let's raise ourselves up. Let's stay healthy all the time, not just for this thing, but all the time, okay? And as long as I'm doing this, and as long as I'm here, one of the saddest days was when Dr. Nelson said she was going to retire, but we don't let her. We just keep her going, and we don't. We keep getting her involved. So I said when she retires, I was going to retire, so I can't let her retire, or else I'll have to retire. So you know, it's kind of a thing we have going here. All right. Patty said when I retire, she's retiring, so we can't do that. So, anyways, let's stay well. Let's stay in touch. Let's love each other and take care of yourselves. And please, God bless each and every one of you. Thank you for being here. And remember, next Friday, we're going to have another one. I will be doing it, and we will try to do this almost every Friday. And we're calling it, what is it? Friday Night Live with John. Okay? So, hope you tune in. Tell your friends, pass it on. They don't have to be part of us. They can listen and learn and help themselves. God bless each and every one of you, and thank you so much. And Dr. Nelson, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Dr. Nelson.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank
Nelson.
you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Patty.
Bye.
Hi, Jenna.
Hi, Melvina.
What are you?
I'm good. I miss you.
I know, I miss you.
It's been a
Come
while.
down and see us.
I will.
Okay.
Jenna lost her way to West Hartford.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Oh, hi. Hi, Patty.
Hey, bye.
Hi, Patty. How you doing?
Hey,
How do you
Melvina,
get
I'm
out?
good. I haven't seen you in a few weeks.
I know.
Laura, the right-hand corner.
The X.
Hey, Tristram.
It says leave meeting at the bottom right.
There's Heather and the
Oh,
kids.
really? Okay.
I think if you put your cursor on the screen.
Hi, kids.
Hi.
How are you?
There's Aubrey.
Long time since I've seen you guys.
Been a long time, right?
Gotta get your mom to come. What happened to your mom? Your mom dropped off?
I think she dropped off at some point. I don't know what happened.
All right.
Maybe she disconnected herself, you know. I don't
Never
know.
Okay.
You
It
never
was good to
know.
see her.
Yeah.
She's not the best with technology.
Well, I got Patty. That's the only reason I'm doing this. I wouldn't know what to do. All
Did,
right.
did Peggy leave?
Yeah, Peggy's gone.
Oh,
Peggy. Give her a squeeze for me.
Hey, Clayton, when we have class, you have lots of questions. When we're on the computer, you have none. What's up with that?
Oh, I don't know how to use the computer.
Yeah. And Dawn didn't say nothing, and she's not even on her picture.
No, but I'm here, John.
Okay, that's good. I'm glad you're here.
No, I'm here.
All right. Okay, you all have a good night. Yeah,
All right.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Time to have dinner.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
right.
bye.
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 Bye, everyone.